Here we start talking about the third macroeconomic indicator, which is the cost of living or inflation. We already said before that we put this chapter behind chapter 15, the unemployment chapter, because in this chapter we will halfway enter the monetary world. Okay, we talk about the cost of living or inflation because of money we use in our daily transactions. All right. Now, here we're going to start with an opening question. Your grandparents bought a house at a price in the year blank, and someone offers blank to buy the house in 2020. Okay. Now, here I would ask you to pause the video and reach out your grandparents. Okay. You can call them, tweet them, text them, whatever way you can get their response. I want you to get the real numbers. Okay, like how much they actually spend in what year. Okay, don't worry about the third blank. Okay, we can take care of that later. All right, and now here let me just make up some numbers so that we can continue talking about it. Okay, now suppose your grandparents purchased the house with, let's see, $60,000, okay, in the year 1970. How about that? Okay, and if today someone comes to their door and offer, let's see, how about $180,000 to buy the house, okay, how would you think about this deal? What kind of professional suggestion you would give to your grandparents after taking this course? They should sell it or keep it. Okay. Now here, the first thing we need to clarify is we are assuming that the house itself and its surroundings did not change at all. Okay. We make this assumption to simplify the analysis. So you don't have to worry about any renovations they have done to the house, or if there's any kind of the commercial development in the neighborhood. Okay. Now here, by looking at the difference between these two dollar amounts, you would find that this offer, okay, $180,000 is 3 times as high as the original price. Okay, $60,000. Does that necessarily mean this is a good offer, or your grandparents should sell it? Okay. Now here, you should be aware that the change in the dollar amount includes two things. The first one is a change in overall price levels. In other words, inflation. Okay. The second is a change in quantities of goods and services your grandparents could exchange by giving up the house. Now, for the second one, let me explain a little bit more. In 1970, okay, they spent $60,000 purchasing a house. If they would not purchase the house in 1970, with that $60,000, what they could do or what they could buy. For example, if they told you that, with that $60,000 in 1970, they could purchase a brand new Ford pickup truck and spend 1 week in Paris for vacation. Okay. Now we want to know this year with $180,000, would they be able to do the same thing? Okay. So if they again sell the house, get $180,000, would they be able to buy a brand new Ford pickup truck and spend 1 week in Paris? Okay, if they would be able to do these and even more, they can even purchase more, then this is a good deal. Okay, they are, the offer can help them exchange the same thing and even more. Okay, if they can't purchase the same thing they could purchase in 1970 with the original price, then this is not going to be a good deal. Okay, now here let's think about what does inflation mean. Okay, there are actually 2 ways we can either define or measure inflation. Okay, the first one is how fast do price levels increase or decrease on average. Okay, now on average means across all goods and services we purchase. Okay, the second way is how fast does money lose its value. Okay, now here let me give you a very simple example to help you understand the difference between these two. Okay, when we think about the price levels, for example, if we look at the orange, okay, look at the orange price between 1970 and 2020. Okay, let's say if in 1970 the or we could purchase an orange at 25 cents. Okay, and today we have to spend $1 to purchase the same orange. Okay, probably the same kind, the same size. Okay, and so here we could say that the price level, which is measured by the orange price, increases by 400%. Okay, or 4 times. So that's the first one here. How fast do the price levels increase or decrease? The second one, how fast does money lose its value? So here we're going to look at, for example, $1. Okay, how many units of goods and services we can purchase. Again, we continue using orange as an example. Okay, in 1970, if the orange price is 25 cents, with $1 we can buy 4 oranges, right? We can buy 4 of them. Today the price is $1 each, so we can only buy 1. Okay, again here, no matter you look at the price or look at the purchasing power of the money, you can reach the same conclusion. The price level increases by 4 times between 1970 and 2020. Okay, and in reality, we have multiple measures of inflation. In this chapter, we're going to spend the vast majority of our time talking about CPI, Consumer Price Index, okay, which measures the price level of consumption goods and services. Okay, and later in this chapter, we're going to briefly talk about GDP deflator, okay, which is another measure of price level. We also have the core CPI and producers price index PPI, okay, and many other indicators, but we won't have enough time to talk about these ones. Okay, later when you take intermediate level macroeconomics, we're going to spend some time talking about these. Okay, and these are actually very important as well. For example, the core CPI helps us understand the long-term trend of inflation, and the PPI helps us understand what's going on the production